Good afternoon, everyone. We are still waiting for more participants to join us. So yeah, let's wait for another 2 or 3 minutes before we start our session. Thank you. Maybe while waiting, for other participants to join, you can use the chat function and let us know where you are coming from, and also your institution. Okay, thank you. So again, welcome everyone. We are still waiting for more participants to join us. I think let's wait for another 2 minutes before we start our session. In the meantime, I've seen in the chat box, so many people already joined us. Thank you so much from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from Thailand, from Philippines, and even from outside of Southeast Asia. So again, thank you. And for other participants, maybe you can also share where you are coming from, your institution, and also which country. And thank you. Okay, I think we can start our session for this afternoon. So once again, welcome everyone. Welcome to Elsevier webinar expert series from Southeast Asia. This time titled Universities in Action, How Academic Communities Contribute to Achieving Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. Today, Wednesday, 28th of July, 2021. My name is Johan Jiang, and I will be your host and moderator for this webinar. Okay, so before we start, let me just first and foremost again welcome everyone from Southeast Asia and also from even outside of Southeast Asia. Thank you for joining this session. Some announcement before we start the session. First, you can ask questions using the Q&A feature. So again, if you want to ask questions, please use Q&A feature. You can use English, you can use Thai, you can use Bahasa Melayu, and also Bahasa Indonesia, and we will gladly help to translate your questions as well. Okay, the questions, especially to our speakers, will be answered after speaker session. So there will be a dedicated Q&A session at the end. And then information on slides, recording, and also e-certificates will be provided to you at the end of the session. And last but not least, please do check your audio. If you are experiencing difficulties, please do check your audio setting, or you can try to log off and then rejoin again. This usually will solve the problem. Okay, we will share the slides, we will share the recording and e-certificates as well. So you don't need to for attendance lists, yeah, because once you join this session, we already know your email informations, and then we will send the slides recordings, yeah, to your email. Okay, so let's this is our agenda, yeah, just a quick one before we start. So first I will introduce our topic, yeah, so the webinar topic introduction. Next, speakers, yeah, so each speakers will have their session, and then we will have the question and answer section, and last we will have closing and announcement. Yeah, so let me just start with the topic introduction, yeah, for this webinar. Yeah, as you already know, yeah, this webinar titled Universities in Action: How Academic Communities Contribute to Achieving SDGs. Yeah, in 2015, the UN General Assembly set forth 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, designed to pave the path to a more sustainable future where no one is left behind. Science, research, and innovations are fundamental to achieving the sustainable and equitable future envisaged by the UN SDGs. Elsevier believes that by combining academic communities' unique insights in content, data, analytics, networks, and actions, it will become highly possible to achieve significant progress towards the goal. We already have 4 prominent speakers that will share their knowledge, yeah, and also their experiences on how academic communities can bring positive impact to SDGs. Yeah, we have Dr. Saidatul Muhammad, director at the Center for Global Sustainability Studies, yeah, from University Science Malaysia. We have Associate Professor Naja Taweseng Sakunthai, Vice President for Strategic Planning, Innovation, and Global Engagement from Chulalongkorn University. We have Anders Carlson, PhD, Vice President of Global Strategic Networks from Elsevier, and also Kana Takasaka, Data Analyst from Elsevier. Okay, they will share, of course, yeah, their knowledge, their experience, and their insights. Yeah, and of course, I believe, yeah, we believe that it will be very valuable for all of us. Yeah. Okay. So let's start. Yeah, our speakers session. Yeah, along the session, if you have any questions, yeah, just put your questions in the Q&A. Yeah, so during speakers explanation, it's fine if you want to put the questions in the Q&A. Yeah, but we will have the Q&A session at the end. Okay. So yeah, let's go to our first session. In our first session, 2 of our speakers will share this session. We have Anders and we also have Kana. So Anders is our Vice President of Global Strategic Networks from Elsevier. Anders joined Elsevier in 2012 as a Vice President for Global Strategic Networks. Before Elsevier, he was for 5 years Counselor for Science and Innovation at the Embassy of Sweden in Tokyo, Japan. He is a member of Elsevier Sustainability Board, the Japan Chair of the International Association of Scientific, Technical, and Medical Publishers, and a member of the Steering Committee of the International Network for Government Science at FICE Asia Chapter. Before serving as Science Counselor, he was for 10 years Professor in Quantum Photonics at the Royal Institute of Technology, KTH, Stockholm, Sweden. And we also have Kana Takasaka, our data analyst from Elsevier. Kana is the data scientist at Elsevier, helping government agencies, funding bodies, policymakers, and research institutions develop research strategies, conduct evaluation to support evidence-based policies. Prior to joining Elsevier, she worked at a consulting firm and a software startup. She holds a Master of Engineering from Tokyo Institute of Technology. Okay, hello, Anders and Kana. So nice to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining. And I believe I'll give the floor, yeah, to both of you, to Anders and Kana, yeah, to start our first session. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this introduction. I start to share my screen.
Yep.
And let's see.
Okay.
Okay, and I start the slideshow. Can everyone see the my screen right now?
It's still loading, but I think we just need to wait a bit.
Okay, so I'm delighted to be here, and I very much looking forward to hear from our true experts from our 2 universities today. So and also to looking forward to the Q&A and discussions. Can you see the screen right now?
Okay, we can see it now.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for that introduction. So I will start off a bit and then Kana will follow. And I thought of give the title, Why You, Me, and Universities Should Care About the SDGs. I give a bit of introduction and then go into some of Elsevier activities. So society basically is facing grand challenges. We know it right now. I live in Asia right now, so I'm in Tokyo. It's very warm. And across the globe right now, we're seeing quite extreme weathers. So we have the challenges of environmental degradation, climate change, food insecurity, water scarcity, and a tremendous biodiversity loss, not the least in the Asia-Pacific region, such in Malaysia, Indonesia, and so forth. And all of these issues cannot be treated in isolation. They need a holistic approach. By the way, to the right is a new journal from Elsevier Cell Press called One Earth. It's quite interesting. It also discusses things like policy as well. So anyway, and I found that picture quite talking about the topic. So the UN SDGs, already mentioned a bit, they were replacing the Millennium Development Goals adopted in 2015, 17 SDG goals with 169 targets. And with targets, you can measure. And that's a bit what our discussions today is about, because things you can measure, you can see how well you're doing and to see whether you need to invest more. So another way to cut it is the so-called SDG wedding cake. And this is something, I'm from Sweden originally, and I know a bit of the work at the Stockholm Resilience Center. So they basically listed up the SDGs in terms of this wedding cake. So what you can see there are in the bottom, the foundation, which is really the biosphere, our resources on Earth, be it life on land, life in water, be it around the climate we have in the atmosphere, or be it in terms of clean water and sanitation. And that's what we have to work with then to build our society. And on top of that, economy, which quite often drives things sometimes too much. And we need to partner to solve these goals. But some of the key challenges we're seeing right now are really related to the lower part of the cake, the biosphere in that sense. And I think if you can look at that link, it's quite interesting. So universities and SDGs, I only have one slide because I think we will listen to our expert from our universities here. We recently did a series called Flash Science Talks, and you have the links there. And one of the themes we discussed interviewing research leaders was around universities and SDGs. What can universities do? Well, of course, it's the learning and teaching. The main thing universities are doing is actually the students that will go out in society to do the change. Go into companies, go into government. A tiny part of everyone studying stay within the university, but those who go out can do miracles. Their own research, that's also the foundation. We need the science to move forward. Knowledge exchange with industry. It's about organizational governance culture, and it's about external leadership. And you can see two of the quotes here. For instance, from the president of the Vrije University in Amsterdam, we like to be the change and we encourage partners to engage with SDGs. Or from Duncan Ivison of University of Sydney, I believe they are #2 globally now in the impact rankings. The primary reason for embracing the SDGs is that we have an obligation and responsibility to do so. So I'm not trying to put too much pressure on our colleagues here from universities, but it's clearly the academic sector have a key role to play as well as we do as industry. So in terms of showcasing SDGs, this is just one example of our data. I know that Kana will go into much more detail around how our data can be used to showcase the SDGs. But we have together, and Kana will go into that in more detail, we have worked with a number of universities as partners to, within our database Scopus, try to figure out how much a research contributes to the targets underlying the 17 SDG goals. And we basically done it really well for the 16. And in this case, this is actually from Lingnan University in Hong Kong. They can actually, if you go to that website, you can click on each of these SDGs and then see how the university is doing. Who are the researchers working on those SDGs? And that is helping the university to showcase the work and think in terms of, let's say you're an industry. I like to work with some smart people at the university on SDG 11 around smart cities. Okay, who can I find? And then I click on that website to see exactly the researchers working on that topic. So that's one way of using data to drive forward how you work on the SDGs. So Elsevier and SDGs, actually, some of the first work we did, and well, it goes way back before that, actually, with our journals at least, but we did a report before the release of the UN conference called Sustainability Science in a Global Landscape. I took part of that report partially, and we then tried the first time to really map how science, how the research mapped towards the different SDGs. We have followed up on that one. We have an SDG resource center where you can actually go in and crowdsource how we should tag SDG publications. We initiated as part something called a publisher's compact. And what is a compact? Well, that's part of the UN system. We are an early member of the business compact towards the SDGs. And we also initiated that publishers should work together on the SDGs. So we have a publisher compact, and we were one of those that worked on that. 5 years after 2015, we did a second report. It's called The Power of Data to Advance the SDGs, where we looked at how, for instance, different countries are doing across each of the SDGs. We also looked at the difference between North and South. So it gives a lot of food for thought, actually. We have a sustainability science hub, if you're interested, and go to look at. And I guess you can just look at Google sustainability Elsevier to find some more information. But of course, that is not all what we do. We have our primary publishing. So we have a number of journals. I believe in environmental sciences, we're among the largest. And I read somewhere we have more than 40% of the citations in that area. We have done other reports around, for instance, disaster science. You would all know, of course, of the Lancet. We have set up coronavirus information centers where we're basically providing the data and publications around coronavirus directly to the WHO and open as well for the world to use to advance research. We have our Elsevier Foundation. We're working on a number of programs, quite a lot on empowering women and women in, let's say, emerging economies. I don't want to use directly the word development. We have done a lot of work around gender in science as well. So we have 3 reports around that. Anyone who's interested can just Google around this and find out more. This is part of our commitment of what we want to do. We want to use the fact that we have a lot of unique data. Most of this data, I mean, really all, comes from the science community working together with us. And working with this aggregated data, we can also provide data for evidence-based policymaking to support policymakers to help to advance towards the SDGs, for instance. So those are some of the things we do. So let me zoom in a bit on research on SDGs, just a bit more on SDG 13, climate action. Okay. So the science is actually very clear. By the way, this is a picture I took myself, I think 4 or 5 years ago when I was in India. And this is a very hazy morning in New Delhi. And I could probably, when I went out for a walk, could see around 200-300 meters at most. So the air was not very clean, I should say. But something is very clear. With higher green gas emissions, we see higher temperature rise. With more higher temperature, you have more energy into the system, which leads to a more unstable climate. And the science is really clear. And as a scientist, sometimes I like to go back to early references. So I found one. I apologize for being Swedish in this sense. I found one which dates back to 1896. This is one of the first papers. It's around climate change and the role of greenhouse gas. It's entitled "On the Influence of Carbonic Acid in the Air Upon the Temperature on the Ground. How does green gas emission affect our temperature on Earth?" I know this was not very much picked up. Actually, the author, Svante Arrhenius, he was mainly a chemist. And I don't think until the really 60s that really we began to understand. And one can actually now say that around 1950s, things really took off in terms of moving to the case where we really as human activities are influencing the climate. But this is a very early reference, 1896. So a quite interesting one, actually. So, well, so what? We really know it will affect a lot. This is from the IPCC special report, global warming of 1.5 degrees. And mind you, we're not sure at all that we can keep to 1.5 degrees heating. I think we're now up to 1.1, 1.2, and already we're seeing the consequences. But it goes from everything, from the corals, acidification, mangroves, fishes, the Arctic region, terrestrial ecosystem, coastal flooding, crop yields, heat-related morbidity, mortality. So there are a huge risk associated with the dangerous climate change. So just again, look at SDG research 13 from Southeast Asia, and I just took out very simple from our databases, the case of Malaysia and Thailand. And you can actually see the kind of scholarly output, what's done in the region. You can see that both Malaysia and Thailand publish quite a lot. And if anyone is interested in more details, maybe Kana, you will provide a bit more, and I do know from our topic experts, we will hear a bit more. Having this type of data can help to inform where you are in terms of science and where we are in terms of collaboration, and should more be done. So just to walk the talk. So a few days ago on July 15, Elsevier and our parent company called the RELX Group, we signed the so-called Climate Pledge, or Paris Agreement 10 years early. This is part of the United Nations Race to Zero campaign. And that this means that we will, by 2040 at the latest, be net zero carbon emission across all what we do as a company. And it turns out that about 60% of the carbon emission we do as a company from Elsevier is related to travel. And we're actually measuring our improvement to not to 2020 when we didn't travel, but to 2019 when we were still traveling a lot. So these are things we are doing. So I think this is quite exciting, actually. And just to round off my part and hand over to Kana, please do follow our social media channels on what we do. We just started a Twitter channel called Elsevier Sustainable. I myself, I'm too old to be on Instagram, I say, but I am not so much on Instagram, but we have an Instagram channel. I'm sorry, I'm still on Facebook only. So we also start a bi-monthly newsletter. And I really encourage anyone who wants to work together with us to take contact, because I think we do quite interesting things, hopefully internally as well, where we want to discuss with universities, a lot to learn. And I want to learn more today in the rest of our discussion. So I end there and I move on to learn a lot from my esteemed colleague from Tokyo, Kana-san. So over to you, Kana.
Okay, thank you, Anders. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kana Takasaka. I'm a data scientist at Elsevier. I will show my screen first. Okay, I will show my screen. Okay, so United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, as Anders already explained about this, so I don't repeat it. Today's agenda, I'm going to talk about Impact Ranking 2021 methodology, but before that, I'd like to talk about a little bit about Scopus, as this is a foundation of impact ranking, also cyber data, and finally, how data can help. So let me talk about a little bit about Scopus. Scopus is the source nature abstraction and citation database curated by independent subject matter experts. Scopus contains over 81 million publications and 70,000 affiliation profiles and 16 million author profiles. And Scopus plays powerful discovery and analytical tool for researchers, scientists, librarians, institutional research manager, and funders. So if we look at the Scopus simplified version of data model, you can see these entities are connected to each other. So this allows us to complex analysis of the data. We can tell you who is doing what in global literature and where they are doing within the higher accuracy than anyone else. And we can look at the publication history of author, zoom out to the country level or institutional level, or zoom back to a single publication. If we look at the simplified Scopus sources, we have contents from 5,000 publishers from 105 countries and 40 languages. And Scopus is updated daily basis. Also, we have independent international councils, selection and advisory board that consists of 17 subject chair, each representing a specific subject field. This international advisory board group of scientists, researchers, and librarians represent the major scientific discipline and responsible for reviewing all titles that were suggested to Scopus. So once that source title accepted to Scopus, they cannot stay forever. It will be reviewed by this advisory board. So how to identify publication in Scopus that meets SDG? We identify publications that meet SDG by creating an advanced Scopus query per SDG. And based on their targets, we can find the publication. And you can find this data set by simply search Mendeley data and SDG. And actually you can use it from this website. Let's talk about most recent THE Impact Ranking 2021 methodology. So, because this ranking, we use Scopus, so this is why I explained the Scopus before THE Impact Ranking. The impact ranking can be broken up to 17 separate rankings, which are based on specific SDGs. And metrics vary per SDGs. Elsevier is responsible for 27% of ranking. So other percentage are defined by different indicators. And finally, overall score for each ranked institution is calculated by combining institutions' score in SDG 17 plus top 3 SDGs. Publication eligible for impact ranking. To find the publications that are eligible for impact ranking, we start out 5-year time span, January 2015 to December 2019 for publication, and January 2015 to February 2021 for citation, and no suspended journal. No suspended journal means that we exclude any output from discontinued Scopus sources. These are sources that are no longer indexed in Scopus, usually because they are no longer comply with high quality standards in that sources indexed in Scopus need to meet. So the output filter, the output is filtered by 5 publication types: journal articles, article reviews, conference proceedings, books, and books chapter. And by using Scopus custom query per SDG, we tag every publication that meets one or more of SDGs and join this data set with raw Scopus data. So metrics supplied to THE for the World University ranking, generally we use field weighted citation impact, FWCI, and country normalized version of FWCI only. But for this impact ranking, we supply variety of metrics. For example, number of publications that are relevant for SDG, and also proportion of all research paper co-authored with low-income country defined by World Bank, and proportion of research paper in the top 10% of journal as defined by CiteScore, and proportion of research paper that are viewed or downloaded, proportion of research paper that's cited in clinical guidelines, proportion of university total research outputs that is authored by women, and patent citation, number of patents that cite research conducted by the university. And not all metrics are used in each SDG. So here is a metrics weight per SDGs. As you can see in this table, all SDGs are weighted roughly 20% of ranking. FWCI output in top 10 percentile source by site score are most commonly used metrics. Let's have a closer look at each, some exception. So SDG 1, no poverty. Number of publications that are co-authored by country in the low income bracket as defined by World Bank is used. And SDG 3, good health and well-being. This one uses Scopus usage by looking at views and downloads as well as clinical citations. And another interesting metrics, SDG 5, gender equality. We look at the proportion of female author in the output by assigning gender to author name. And SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. This one, we include patent citations, which are also supplied to us by Palm X metrics. And finally, SDG 17, partnership for the goals. Actually, we don't have a Scopus query for number 17, partnership for goals, but instead, we decided together with THE that we will use a duplicated output of all SDG 1 to 16, and also look at the collaboration with low-income country. So all these metrics are used for each SDGs. The final or overall score for each ranked institution is calculated by combining the institution score in SDG 17 and also the score in top 3 SDGs. So let's see some SDG data in cyber. But before that, I'd like to mention about some situation in Southeast Asian country. As you can see, this graph, all of Southeast Asian countries, ASEAN countries, number of output, research output are increasing at country level. So all SDG related publications are also increasing. So this data is a little bit old, but still valid. For example, if you look at some institution level, some Indonesian university are increasing rapidly, also in some Malaysian country. And if you look at H5 institutional index, many Southeast Asian countries, H5 index are increasing. So same like this is an overall view, and all SDG related publications are also increasing. So let's look at some SDG data in cyber. If you go to cyber.com SDG, we have this special site for SDG Go and their publication. You can see each SDG, and if you click particular public SDG, you can see what kind of keyword are used for this particular goals. For example, peace, justice, and strong institution. All publication assigned to this SDG goal has this kind of keywords used in the publication, like human rights, violence, child abuse, corruption. And also we can analyze at the institutional level. This example is today's our guest, University Science Malaysia, and look at SDG 19, number of publication is increasing. And also because I'm showing some PowerPoint, I can't show you everything, but you can see the top 15 key phrase of this particular institution. And number one keyword is, of course, Malaysia. Next. And then another example, SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. This one, word cloud is some, you can see 3D printer, but also life cycle assessment, selective laser melting, manufacturing. And also if you look at particular university, this is also today's our guest speakers, Chulalongkorn University. You can see number of scholarly output is increasing. And if you see closer look at the publication level, you can see what kind of publication are assigned to this SDG and who is writing. And apart from Chulalongkorn University, which universities are collaborating with this university? So I will skip 15, but like this, we can see the institutional SDG and look at the author level and collaboration. And finally, how data can help. If you go to United Nations Big Data for Sustainable Development site, you can find a lot of data source links that you can use. It's open data. Anyone can use it. Also, if you go to World Bank Atlas of SDGs, this gives you a data visualization about 17 goals. And these two are international organizations, right? United Nations, World Bank, but also some private sector, some enterprise also gives you some SDG related data. For example, this world poverty map, anyone can use. And if you click particular country, you can see more detailed information. Another example, SDG 2, Zero Hunger, you can also get some hunger related data from this website. So I can't introduce all the SDGs, so I will stop here, but you can find this kind of metrics data graphic visualization in even for one SDG, so many places freely available. So how data can help? If I learn the word from United Nations, this boils down to this. So data is a life footbroad of decision making and the raw material for accountability. If the data analysis is applied responsibly, it can enable more agile, effective, and evidence-based decision making, and can better measure progress, the SDG, in a way that is both inclusive and fair. And this apply for country level strategy, also university level. If university use this data more agile, effectively, and evidence-based decision making, we and also can measure progress of SDG. So it could be, we could make more better strategy in both inclusive and fair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Anders and Kana, for your sharing. Yeah. So what I can conclude here is, as an organization, Elsevier do contribute to SDGs in so many ways. It could be from data, it could be analytics, various workshops, various talks that we provide, various partnerships, and also, of course, with actions as well. And as Kana also mentioned, that Scopus is the foundation for data. And then we use this data for various organizations, including for THE impact ranking as well. And Kana already explained how the Scopus data then being used for THE impact ranking, for mapping in SciFile, and so on. So thank you so much, Anders and Kana. I think there's a couple of questions already in the Q&A, but we will hold the Q&A session because we will move now to the second session. Yeah, so let me introduce our speaker for the second session. Just a quick announcement before that. So for everyone that just joined us, maybe you missed the informations before, that there is no attendance list for this webinar. We will send the slides, and also the recordings to your registered email accounts. And please do wait until the end of this session to know how you can download your e-certificates. Yep. Okay, so let me introduce our speaker for our next session, for the second session. So we have Dr. Saidatul Akmal Muhammad, Director at the Center for Global Sustainability Studies from University Science Malaysia. And this university is ranked #1 in Malaysia for THE impact ranking in 2021. So let me just quickly read that Dr. Saida is currently the director at the Center for Global Sustainability Studies, or CGSS, and an associate professor at the School of Social Science, and University Science Malaysia. She joined the university in 2005 upon completion of her PhD from the University of Birmingham in the UK. Her main area of research is welfare economics, concentrating more on the well-being of older person and social protection. Other areas that interest her include development economics, tourism, and heritage economics, and public finance. She has been consulted on many occasions for above-mentioned economic areas by many organizations, which include the local governments and agencies, as well as international organizations, such as the OECD Korea Policy Center, United Nations Research Institute of Social Development, Open Budget Partnerships, Penang State Government and Economic Planning Unit. Okay, it's an honor for us to have Dr. Saida. Hello, Dr. Saida.
Hi, Johan.
Hello, thank you so much. And I will give the floor to you to share your experience and also your insight for SDGs from University Science Malaysia perspective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Johan, for that kind introduction. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, okay.
You see the screen?
Yes, Can you go to presentation mode?
Yeah, it's already on the presentation mode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank
All right. So thank you so much again, Johan, for the kind introduction, as well as to Elsevier for the invitation for this particular webinar. It is definitely an honor to be part of this Elsevier Expert Series webinar. And I am honored and privileged to share what we have done at University Science Malaysia, USM, with regard to a sustainability agenda or sustainability practices. So I won't be able to share so many things about what we have done in USM. So I'm just going to give a few highlights about what we have taken or what we have done over the years with regard to sustainability at the university. Let me first explain to everyone the presentation that I will be doing this particular afternoon. So I will be talking about a little bit about the background and the philosophy of the universities, and then moving on to the governance and strength that support sustainability at USM. And finally, I'll explain a little bit about the highlights of our sustainability practices that covers the three dimensions of sustainability that are social, environment, as well as the economy. So let me first start with a brief introduction about USM. So this is a blank map about USM. This is our main campus. So USM is having three campuses. So we have our main campus in the Penang Island. We also have our engineering campus and the Penang mainland. And we also have a medical campus in Kelantan. So these are the three campuses that we have. And this particular map that you see is the outline of the area that we have on the main campus. So the name of science at USM, basically it covers the hybrid of both hard sciences as well as other sciences or the soft sciences. So we have a combination of humanities, social sciences, management, as well as engineering, physics, and all the other hard sciences. So in total, we have 26 schools. So USM follows the school concept. It's not a faculty, it's basically school concept. So we have 17 research centers that support the 26 schools, as well as support the research agenda of the university. Center for Global Sustainability Studies, CGSS, where I am at the moment, is one of the Center of Excellence, which is part of the 17 research centers that we have. So on top of that, we have 10 service centers. So USM can be considered as a new university. Yeah, it's a young university. We were established in 1969, so we are almost 51 years old. So we are still young with regard to our academic performance. So we are still striving to make sure that we are doing better with regard to performance every year. So in total, we already have more than 20,000 undergraduates and almost 10,000 postgraduates that cover both the local students as well as international students. So USM, we promote the concept that we called University in the Garden. So I think if anybody had visited our main campus, you will notice that the university is surrounded with a lot of trees, yeah, green trees. So this concept that we are advocating is a concept to advocate sustainable lifestyle. So we want to make sure that when we do our research, our community engagement, our teaching, we make sure that we comply to the environmental matters, and we try our best to make sure that we do not deteriorate or making sure that the environment is well taken care of. So that is the concept that we have been promoting at the university. With regard to our governance, yeah, of course, I think all of us know that USM in the Global Impact Rankings 2021, we are ranked number 1 in Malaysia and number 39 in the world. So on top of that, you know, it's sustainability is part of the university. We have had sustainability incorporated in our vision as well as our mission and our trust. So you see here, this is our mission, transforming higher education for a sustainable tomorrow. So we have put that as our mission. So whatever that we do in our daily operations, focusing on the 3 dimensions of education for sustainable development, which is research, economy, as well as social, we focus to make sure that we focus on ensuring a sustainable tomorrow. So if you look at our mission, our mission is a pioneering transdisciplinary research intensive university that empowers future talents. Future talents refers to our graduates, and enables the bottom billions, which is the community, to transform their socio-economic well-being. So we are a university that advocate transdisciplinary research. As I mentioned earlier, that we are not only focusing on hard sciences, but also the soft sciences. So in our trust, we put there our trust, one of the element of this trust is sustainability. So as you can see here that we are part of sustainability from our vision, mission, and trust. And these are the principles or the fundamentals that guide all our education for sustainable development elements in our daily operations. So on top of that, with our vision, mission, and trust, our strength focuses both on environmental sciences as well as developmental studies. So we have environmental sciences focusing on physical, biological, and information sciences, as well as the development studies that include social development, gender studies, sustainable development, and some other topics under development studies. So some of the centers that we have in USM that focus on ensuring the enhancing the well-being of the community is the USM Cerebral Palsy Research Cluster, USM AIDS and Action and Research Group, as well as USM Initiative on Aging. To continue with our governance, okay, because we already have our sustainability being embedded in our vision and mission, we have already established a council, which is University Sustainability Council, or in Bahasa is called Majlis Pelestarian University, short form is MKU. So this council was established in 2013 to discuss and to mainstream all sustainability agendas at the institutional level. So the council meets 3 times per year, and this council makes decision on whatever matters regarding to sustainability. So whatever that we want to do at the university, we have a council to oversee the progress of sustainability development, as well as responsible for development and planning of sustainability agenda at the university. So on top of that, we have, as I mentioned just now, the education for sustainable development, as well as university as a living-led concept that we have advocated at the university. So education for sustainable development, it's motivated or is being governed by our policy on sustainability. So we have policy on sustainability that was launched in 2014 to focus on all matters related to sustainability. And this policy had been renewed this year to incorporate the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So initially when this policy was introduced, we only focused on rehab. But now with Sustainable Development Goals, we have incorporated that into our sustainability policy. We have also have our guidelines for sustainability best practices to make sure that the USM community is able to know what are the things that need to be done with regard to sustainability, and what are the benchmarks that need to be followed that is defined or that is used as the guidelines for best practices. And we are also advocating on zero risk management, that is the focus of this year's progress on sustainability. With regard to teaching, we encourage that every particular courses that are offered at the university have some sustainability elements. And we also have introduced one course at the university level called Sustainability Issues, Challenges and Prospects. This was introduced in 2011 for the undergraduate students to start having the basic knowledge and the principles of sustainability, because we believe that in order for us to produce a very well-versed future talents on sustainability, we need to start young, and we need to start introduce the concept of sustainability even to the first year students. So this is basically the governance that we have at the university. I will discuss more about the Living Lab as I move on to discuss about the sustainability practices that we have in USM. This is our sustainability journey. So as you can see, our journey start as early as the year 2000. So it's not that we only started our action on sustainability recently. So we have done it since the year 2000 with the establishment of Center for Education, Training and Research in Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. This was first set up with the cooperation from the German government. We also have Regional Center of Expertise that is still here. We also have Campus Sejahtera. I will discuss more about Campus Sejahtera in a while. So in 2008, we were awarded as the APEC status. This was, I would say, the kickoff or the turning point for the many sustainability agenda that we have adopted in USM. So we had our policy on sustainability launch in 2015, our governance guidelines for sustainability practices in 2016. And then in 2020, just recently, REDAC, one of our Center of Excellence at the university, was awarded UNESCO Chair on Eco-Hydraulics for Sustainable Water Infrastructures for SDG 6 in the Asia and the Pacific region by UNESCO. And as everyone has known, recently this year, we were ranked number 39 in the Times Higher Education Global Impact Rankings 2021. And we will continue to promote sustainability for a better tomorrow, and we will further enhance our practices with regard to sustainability, not only among our community in USM, but also extending it to the community at the national and the regional level. So that wraps up basically on the governance, our strength, and what we have done with regard to sustainability at USM. Now let's move on to some of the sustainability practices that we have in USM that have become the pioneer or the underlying fundamentals and principles for the success of sustainability agenda at the university. Let's start first with our Living Lab. So USM, we can say that we are advocating the concept of Living Lab for sustainability. So one of them that we have at the university is EcoHub. So EcoHub is the Living Lab and the green lung of USM. So initially, EcoHub was basically just an abandoned green space. So then, CGSS had already taken the initiative to basically transform EcoHub to become what we called as a nature repository. So this is a nature where we preserve our environment. We have our flora and fauna. We make sure that these particular areas is remain as our green lung at the University of Science Malaysia, that many of our researchers, students actually use EcoHub for their research activities, for their students' activities, to know more about nature and to know more about plants as well as whatever animals that are available in the nature and in the area. So when we talk about sustainability, we understand that sustainability is should not only be focused within the USM campus. So what we have done is we have advocated sustainability agenda to the community at the national and regional level through the knowledge transfer concept. So we share our knowledge with our community about how to engage on sustainability, what needs to be done, what are the current practices, what are the challenges that can stop or can prevent any particular institutions or individual to success in sustainability. So we had our workshops with the students, with the community. We had our carnivals. We also had a hands-on workshop with community and industries. And one of them is our training of trainer workshops on green technologies. And one of the ways that we share our knowledge and share our information on sustainability is through conferences as well as webinars. One of the conferences that we have joined and collaborated with is the Asia Pacific Urban Forum 7 that we make sure that, whatever sustainability exchanges with the academic communities, practitioners, and policymakers are able to be done on a better platform. On top of that, because our mission did mention that we want to empower the bottom billion. So one of our effort is we empower the community. So what we have done is we have a lot of community engagement activities that we do at the university. And these community engagement activities is mainly done through our community engagement office. So we have an office that oversees all the community engagement activities, from funding to executions as well as monitoring. We also have our star system for our community engagement projects. So to make sure that whatever that we do would contribute back to the community. So we encourage our academics as well as our administrators and students to participate in community engagement work. So one of the activities that we have done with the local community is the Innovation for Community, Inno4C, on local startup assistance. This is a program that we have done in one of the villages in Sarawak. And this particular community, or basically this particular project, was done to encourage and to inculcate entrepreneurship culture among the locals with regard to honey harvesting. So on top of that, with the other communities, what we have done, we have also had a program with the Orang Asli or the Aborigines through our transfer of knowledge programs with regard to information technology. So we do this often, and we encourage our community to participate in community engagement work. And we also have provided a special fund for community engagement projects by the university, but we do encourage our researchers and administrators to get external fund to make sure that the projects that we do with the community is sustainable. So it's not just about getting the fund for KPI purposes, but also making sure that the fund is able to sustain whatever project that we have with the community. On top of that, to also help with our students, especially with SDG 2, Zero Hunger, we have set up a student food bank to assist the students from the B40 groups to get all their necessities with regard to food and other necessity products for them to make sure that they are able to have a good life at the university, not to worry about food, not to worry about other essentials, but they are able to get the assistance that are required to make sure that they continue with their students' life at the university. Another one that we do with regard to SDG is SDG 5. So we promote gender equality. So one of the ways that we do is basically through our engagement with our Center for Research on Women and Gender, a short form called for Kanita. So Kanita is a center, probably one of the unique centers that focus on research for women and gender that is that had been here in USM and in Malaysia since 1978. So it started with a small research cluster funded by UNICEF to do research on women, and then it continued until today. So Kanita had been the referral point to many agencies as well as many governments and research centers around the globe to get ideas and to have a good transfer of knowledge in terms of engagement, in terms of policy making, as well as research on women, as well as other related gender issues. On top of that, we also have what we call the USM Women Association that focus on empowering our own staff. You know, it's not only about empowering the others, but also empowering our people with regard to whatever engagement that we have within the university as well as outside the university. So one of the actions that we have done is the setup of lactation room under the gender prehatine policy that we have at the university. So we have set up lactation rooms at Kanita itself, at other schools and other centers to make sure that women have that equality when they are facing challenges in terms of managing their family as well as ensuring that they participate in the workforce. So on top of that, with regard to facilities, we also have our daycare and kindergarten that help a lot of working mothers in USM to make sure that they are able to send their children nearby where they are working to make sure that they have some peace of mind when they work during the day. On top of that, with regard to SDG 4, we also encourage and nurture lifelong learning. So on top of all the normal curriculums and courses that we have had, as I've mentioned just now, most of our courses are encouraged to have some form of SDG elements. And in fact, in our form of courses that we are offering at the universities, academics or lecturers are asked to tick what are the SDGs that are related to the courses that we are offering. So on top of that, with regard to lifelong learning, USM has already introduced some form of micro-credentials, MOOC, as well as a training and educational programs. Because we believe that as a university, we not only should educate our students and groom our students, but we should also extend our knowledge and our skills to benefit the outside communities. And this is the purpose that we are doing. So this one is basically under the purview of the Center for Development of Academic Excellence, CDAE, that focus a lot on developing micro-credential programs as well as MOOC at USM. So some of these programs are extended to the public for free. Some of them are required to pay, but of course the payment is somehow minimum to make sure that all walks of life are able to participate in our life learning program. With regard to SDG 13, we are also monitoring our environmental impact very closely. And in fact, this year has been the focus point for our environmental assessment for SDG 13, because we have started to engage on environmental sustainability assessment, or short form called ESA at USM. So beginning for 2019, we have started to monitor our carbon footprint. And if you see here, from 2019 to 2020, we have managed to reduce our carbon footprint by 16.2%. Of course, these data, some would say that it might be superficial because we were in the phase of lockdown due to COVID-19. But at least we have some base data to start with. So we have measured our carbon footprint into different categories: energy, waste, and transportation. And you can see that all these elements have shown reduction. For example, energy reduction of 28%, waste almost 30%, and transportation of 33%. So this is our starting point to work towards a carbon neutral university, and we want to make sure that we achieve the target of reducing carbon emissions of 45% by 2030. So this is quite a big impact for USM, and a big engagement that requires the participation of everyone on campus, making sure that they participate in the efficient use of energy, waste, as well as transportation. Finally, what we have done in USM, because we are a university, so our students are our key movers in sustainability. So we believe that when we work towards sustainability, whatever programs that we do, we need to have the support of the students. So we have basically set up what we call the Sustainable Campus, or Campus Sejahtera, a student-led organization at USM, focusing at championing all sorts of sustainability programs at the university. So initially, when you talk about Campus Sejahtera, it has always been not only championed by the student, but also working together with the academics and the administrators to make sure that we are able to work in advocating sustainability agenda at the university level as well as with the university. So now the Sustainable Campus, or Campus Sejahtera, is parked under the administration of our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Sustainability and Developmental Institutes. We have a special portfolio on sustainability by our Deputy Vice Chancellor, and that is the one that is monitoring all the activities that are done by students under Campus Sejahtera. So that wraps up some of our key highlights that we have done in USM with regard to sustainability practices. So to conclude my presentation this particular afternoon, I have to say that when we want to champion, or we want to make sure that our sustainability agenda is a success, we need everyone's commitment. So as you can see from what I have shown you in the slides this particular afternoon, our commitment is not only one person, it's not only Center for Global Sustainability Studies, it's basically from the top management, from our governance, from our university commitment in our vision and mission, as well as the support from the university's researchers, academics, as well as administrators, and with our students' involvement to make sure that all their sustainability practices and programs at USM could be executed successfully. So with that, I thank and end my presentation. So over to you, Johan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saida. Terima kasih. Thank you for sharing the USM sustainability journey. I think the vision is very clear. The concept is also very good established by the university, and we can definitely see great actions, and the result, of course, is not just for THE impact ranking, but we see a real positive community development supported by USM. So thank you so much for sharing the information to all of us. Now let's move to the next session. Okay, let me share my screen first to introduce you to our third speaker. For our fourth speaker, third session, we have Dr. Naja. Dr. Naja is the Vice President of Strategic Planning, Innovation, and also Global Engagement from Chulalongkorn University, Thailand. And Chulalongkorn is ranked first in Southeast Asia and also in Asia for THE Impact Ranking in 2021. So let me just quickly read that Dr. Naja is Vice President for Strategic Planning, Innovations, and Global Engagement. She envisions the futures of higher education and leads Chulalongkorn University Innovations Hub, Siam Innovation District, and CU Enterprise that empowers talents and develop innovation enterprise over 100 startups with a total market valuation of $500 million, benefiting over 1 million citizens. She founded the School of Integrated Innovation that provides a transdisciplinary platform in the context of future-oriented and demand-driven education, research, and innovation enterprise. Committing to innovations for society, Chula ranks #1 in Asia and 23rd in the world, the highest ranking that any Thai university has ever received. And SDG 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure, and SDG 15, Life on Land, are top in ASEAN by the Times Higher Education or THE Impact Rankings 2021. Hi, Dr. Naja, thank you so much. We are waiting.
Johan, thank you.
Yes, we are waiting to hear from you and to learn from Chula as well on how this whole project for SDGs develop in Chula. Would you like me to play the video first, Dr. Naja?
Not yet. I think I'm going to start by presenting, and during the time I will tell you which slide, then I would like to start the video. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Can you see my slides now? Is it clear?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay. First of all, good afternoon, Dr. Saida, Andreas, Hano, and friends from Elsevier, and colleagues from universities in Southeast Asia. Also, welcome the change maker towards SDG goals.
Dr. Naja, very sorry. Your voice is not really clear. Maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
Can you hear me clear now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Salamat petang, salamat danang, salamat sir, xin chào, kumusta, ni hao, sawadee ka. Well, good afternoon, and I'm really grateful to Elsevier and in organizing this. Elsevier experts in universities in actions, how academic communities contribute to achieving SDG goal. Well, I will start my talk by giving a big picture of why SDG is so important for university and what are the university role in helping all of us achieving UN SDG goal. Then I will move into what we do at Chulalongkorn universities, our actions towards SDG. And then lastly, I will wrap up by how we do it and what are the critical success factors that bringing us to this achievement. So let's starting by a big pictures first. If we're looking at the role of universities today, because there are combinations of technology disruptions, global economic uncertainties, and social developments, challenges have aroused the interest in the futures of education, both locally and globally. And due to the changes in industry and social needs, which trigger the fourth industrial revolutions, the Sustainable Development Goals or the SDG, the students do demand for individualization. They're looking for real world experiences. They're looking for global exposure and lifelong learning. It is undeniable that the role of research university have to change to address new challenges and opportunities. Universities become more than just a teaching and learning environment. It is a place to discover new truth at the highest standard of excellence and shorten the time for its application to addressing local and global challenges of the industry and society, benefiting both intellectuals and socio-economic impacts. University is a perfect place to do cutting-edge research, start a business and scale up. Also upskill yourself, collaborate, experiment, and get ready for the futures of workforce. Yet, there are likely many futures or models of higher education. One of all these futures we could consider is a university to be a framework for entrepreneurship. In order to regain a public trust and to establish SDG as the core pillars of a university governance, the roles of the university as an innovator, connector, and an agent of change have been required. In addition to our traditional role as an educator, knowledge generator, and societal problem solvers. And to become a world-class university in today's landscape, you got to make a significant contribution to the advancement of knowledge through research. At the same time, you have to be able to teach with the most innovative curricula and pedagogical methods under the most conducive circumstances. Make research an integral component of undergraduate teaching. Produce graduates who stand out because of their success in intensively competitive arena during their education and more importantly, after graduations. Therefore, to be relevant, all around the world, top universities are shifting their focus to accommodate the needs to the community and industry with the vision of the futures. Chulalongkorn University stands together with such academic powerhouse such as MIT, Cambridge, NUS, and others, sharing similar goals of contributing to the greater goods by grooming futures leaders, participating in research addressing SDGs, and committing to the development of sustainable society movement. In Chulalongkorn University, these strategies we call innovations for society. So if we're looking at this pictures, it's wrapping up the new landscape for education in the post-COVID world.
Dr. Nacha, very sorry, I think the slide is not yet moving.
Oh, can you see my slides now?
Yes, but we can see the cover slide. Okay, now we can see your next this slide.
Okay.
This is
right.
about the artificial intelligence blockchain.
No, it's a new landscape for education in the post-COVID world. Yeah, that's correct. So these pictures representing that with the future's world of tremendous uncertainties and the exponential growth of technology with shorter innovation cycle will definitely transform every aspect of how we live, learn, and work. It's starting by understanding the true needs of customers or the citizens, as well as the city settings, and providing innovative solutions to those needs at speed. And those solutions are built upon 3 key principles: be relevant to your stakeholders, being impactful, and at speed, which allow our community to connect, collaborate, and co-share values, learn and build upon one another. All around the world, universities are internationalizing, implementing public, private, and partnership platforms, and competing for top talents. In Chulalongkorn universities, we have shifted our focus from being just a traditional education to the facilitator of change and entrepreneurial network. As we could see from change in our industry and society, automation disrupts job markets, technological advancement, value-based economies, global power shift to Asia, and the aging society is coming. So we come to this framework of our visions as innovations for society, which definitely require engagement of society at large. Universities have two core competences. One is our intellectual capitals, which coming from our research. Another one is our talents. And the three major outputs that we could see from these two competences are the policy developments, innovations, and community engagement, which do advancing our academic intellectual communities and resulting in socio-economic impact. The outcome that the society is looking for, the people are looking for, is being happy, being healthy. And lastly, we want to build a sustainable society. So from our visions and our strategies of leading sustainable futures through innovation, research, and education, these are the results. So the result this year from the QS World University Ranking 2022, Chulalongkorn University holding as one of the 100 best universities in the world in terms of academic reputation. This is the second straight years that Chula has occupied number 96. And once again, it placed the best university in Thailand. When we're looking at university ranking, it is just a reflection. I always saying that university ranking is a mirror. It do reflect the quality of higher education in several dimensions with different metrics. QS World University Ranking reflect our intellectual impacts, while THE Impact Ranking reflect the university contribution to SDG goal. The rankings brought to light university strengths and opportunity for improvement. So, from our analysis of data and our past experiences, as well as our inspiration to lead sustainable futures, it comes to our strategies. Chulalongkorn University vision is we want to be a leader creating knowledge and innovation for sustainable society, and they are driven through three key strategies. We want to develop and nurture our futures leader who want to create the next and new generation who are not only succeed internationally, but also care about social issues, and they want to make a difference. Second, impactful research and innovation. We encourage our faculty member, researcher, and students to conduct an excellent and meaningful research and develop innovation that align with the needs of local and global society. Lastly, and most importantly, sustainability. We work hard to support the UN SDG goal. We are also collaborating with our local and our international organization to support the work in these regards. The model that we use, or the how-to, how we achieving this. We use the model called an integration model, an integration of innovation enterprises, research and education towards socio-economic impacts on your right-hand side here. All this are main mission of the universities. Enterprises is new thing for many universities, but it is important because it will help us scaling up our socio-economic impact. Innovation is compulsory because we want a new solution for society. Research is our core values. We develop new knowledge, new technologies. And education is the reason for being for universities. But the reason for being, we want to develop our talents and our futures leader who go out there and help making a happy and sustainable society. So we integrating all these four missions into everything that we do. And from our strategies, you can see we're mapping the 17 SDG goal based on our strategies here. So our focus here are this. SDG number 3 is something that we do very well and we keep doing it more and more, especially during COVID-19. SDG number 4 related to our futures leader. SDG number 8 as well. SDG number 9 focusing on impact research and innovation, and sustainability comprising of SDG 11, 12, 14, 15, and 17. However, we only have this as a primary focus. However, other SDG we also contributing as well. It depends on how are we going to focus in each of these projects. So from this, Juฬa Bodies of Work on Innovation for Society has solidified its claim as number 1 in Asia and number 23 in the world by the Times Higher Impact Ranking 2021 among more than 1,000 universities worldwide participating this year. And the latest ranking reflect our success in the development and implement of university known as Innovation for Society, which we have brought about significant contribution to both academic, social, and industrial circles at the international level. So when we're looking at higher education, we are not only producing workers for an established firms, but also intellectual capitals and human capitals who go out there and build an innovation enterprises. Our society needs more social transformer, need more innovation entrepreneurs and technologies innovator to prepare for our future's uncertainties. And Chulalongkorn University priority is to develop futures leaders. We hope to produce graduates who are not only knowledgeable in their fields of study, but also well prepared to serve their community. Human capitals or our leader should have the giving first attitudes or thinking with an aim for the happiness of the society and cultivate an outward mindset with the cultures of collaboration, responding to the sustainable development goals. Chulalongkorn University has recently launched a brand new school in the National Academy of the Futures projects in School of Integrated Innovation. And the school provides a transdisciplinary platform in the context of futures-oriented, demand-driven education, research and innovation enterprises, and offering the first bachelor's degree in arts and science in integrated innovation, which is a transdisciplinary academic platform in the context of futures-oriented towards global sustainability for talent international students, aiming to foster entrepreneurial capabilities for each student and equipping them with the 21st century skills for lifelong learning. And we call this as a wisdom tree. This is how we develop our futures leader who not only have knowledge, but have the right character, have the right attitudes and values, and also having skills to go out there and do an impactful works in the futures. In addition to traditional degree programs, we also have Juฬa MOOC lifelong learning platforms, which we provide a free online education for anyone, as we have a motto called anyone can learn. We provide more than 100 free courses through online, and at the moment, more than 1 million enrollments in the systems. Examples such as a quick MBA for SMEs. This is just in time for COVID-19. People stay home. Some of them lose their jobs. They need quick skills right now to help them survive today and tomorrow. And this is something we do for the communities and give it out for free. Chulalongkorn University has participating in the ARPRU virtual student exchange program since last year. And this program has provided our students with the international experiences and the opportunity to study from any place in the world during the time of uncertainties. And as we know, because of COVID, it is very difficult for us to travel and move, but we allow those international exposure to our students through these platforms. Innovation ecosystem is important. Chulalongkorn University do promote innovation nurturing cultures. We have been creating startups to supporting local innovation district in Bangkok, Salaburi provinces, and extending global outreach to our AUN members. Public-private partnership and collaboration between the universities and various public and private sectors, including our alumni, are crucial to create a coherent innovation ecosystem and help the university maximize impacts and enhance local and international engagement. Since the foundation in 2016, CU Innovation Hub and Siam Innovation District have incubated over 251 innovation-driven teams with a total market valuation more than 0.5 billion US dollars. We have trained over 6,000 students and initiating more than 10 entrepreneurial student clubs. And the innovative solution do improve citizens' quality of life more than 2 million, affecting over 52 provinces in Thailand, or covering more than 80% of the provinces in Thailand, and scaling its contribution to ASEAN communities. Some examples suggest ViaBus, a real-time transit tracking and navigation app with various modes of transit, bus, boat, coach, van, city bus, and so on. ViaBus has been awarded the best innovation in Asia by Forbes 30 Under 30 in 2021. Our CU enterprise or innovation focusing on 5 themes: health and aging innovation, deep tech supercluster, biocircular green, food, agriculture, sustainable society, as well as innovative education. Some of our established startups you will see from the videos, which covering wide range of things, and smart education, smart utility, smart care, smart tourism, smart business, smart farmers, smart transportation. And we shouldn't forget that innovation goes beyond technology. It do cover the scope of arts and science and arts and design too. So our Faculty of Fine Arts, together with the property management of Chulalongkorn University, do develop like Chula Arts Town, which illustrate how vibrant and stunning graffitis and arts can enhance the urban communities and increase the enjoyment of public space for passengers who walk past by. Also, we develop a creative research project, develop new generation of local skill artists, and creating a center for digital entertainment. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to disrupt the norm, Chulalongkorn University is dedicated to look for solutions and develop research with an aim to respond to the needs of the society. Hence, we have been receiving a Prime Minister Award 2020 Innovation for Crisis in the government organization that works with public and private combating COVID-19. So, Johan, do you mind opening the video for me? So I would like to show you like quick video, a short clip showing you about July Innovations for Societies examples.
Okay, Dr. Nacha.
Thank you.
Let me share the video. I think this is a very good video because I watch it. Thank you so much. So let's watch together.
Instead of listen to me talking, so better looking at the video clip. Thank you.
Okay.
This has been developed by our students.
Okay. From the assignment, Innovations to Fight COVID and Chulalongkorn University Services for Students in Thai Society. How will the team present the ideas?
The video will cover actual and current issues in Thai society.
Let's start with the first scene. A student is playing TikTok. As the student is dancing, he wonders about the Chulalongkorn University innovations that have been created to help him and Thailand overcome the nation's current crisis. Wait, you're cutting directly into the topic? Yes, straight in. Part 1, Prevention. Chulalongkorn University has invented mask sprays to better fend off COVID-19 and dust. See Robo COVID, a robot and medical support instrument.
For this part, we will show the Pinto robot, Mirror robot, and Ninja series robots. Part 2, cover the tasting and screening innovations. This is when the image of Chulalongkorn University's Health Service Center comes up.
Chulalongkorn University's Health Service Center tests, screens, and maintains clear social distancing practices. The BioStrip test innovation performs preliminary COVID-19 screening in 15 minutes. The support vehicles to collect test samples from COVID-19 patients are safe and reliable. And the data incubator collects COVID-19 data. Hold on, so the TikTok guy, he disappears?
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Okay, let's get back to him. The student who was searching for information on innovations is wowed by the innovations available.
But the amazement isn't over. Let's move on to part 3 with attempted resolutions with vaccines, like the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine and the tobacco leaf vaccine, which has proven effective in animals. The Jula vaccines being developed are now Thailand's top vaccines. Moving on to the topic of learning. Learning is possible anywhere and anytime. With the Julamu, a learning platform that promotes lifelong learning experience. There's also a quick MBA from home course that adds skills for business. Okay, my concern is, wouldn't this video be just a bit too long? Well, we do have a lot of innovations, Professor.
How about this, Professor? We can go through the images quickly.
Will the audience be able to see them all, Director?
They can press pause.
Oh, that's true.
Let's move on.
Therefore, the innovations. We have lots of innovations, so put a bit more emphasis on the S. No problem, Professor. Innovations for society from Chulalongkorn University. Excellent. All right, let's fight this COVID.
We then end with contact information and the university logo. Fade out.
Well, thank you. So that was a snapshot of our innovations towards society. Then let's move on to, so this is a snapshot of what we have done to fight for COVID. These are 2 research teams which will help us turn from our dreams into promising realities. So 2 Jula team of Thailand domestic made COVID-19 vaccines. The first one is Jula COVID-19 mRNA vaccine from Pharmaceutical Faculty of Medicines, which is the first Southeast Asia first mRNA vaccines. Began phase 1 of human trials, and the promising results is coming very soon. The second one is on Baya Phytopharm. Our startup from the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science developed a new innovative vaccines by using a plant-based technologies and protein from tobacco leaves. It has been tested satisfactory in animals and will conduct a human trial in September this year and expected to launch by early next year. The good thing is it's halal because it's made from plants. And so we hope that after purification process and human trial complete, it could impacting a number of us in Southeast Asia. In addition to vaccines, our Faculty of Veterinary Science has unveiled its latest efforts in training a pack of sniffer dogs to detect people with COVID-19. And the project reached 95% accuracy, and the dogs are now on duty to support the normal screening process. In addition to COVID problems, we are also facing the aging society problems, and Jula RE project is help preparing Thailand towards aging society comprehensively. A number of research and innovation projects that contributing to SDG number 14, such as Life Below Water, the Thailand Innovation Award winning projects to 2020, the Artificial Coral Innovation Project successfully helped improve and restore coral ecosystem from the Department of Marine Science, Faculty of Science, and Faculty of Veterinary Science, partnering with government and private sector. Also with Khmer San model or Waste Free Khmer San project is to eliminate marine waste in Thailand, as well as Jula Zero Waste, which has been implemented throughout the campus, saying no to plastic waste, which is an additional examples of SDG number 14. SDG number 15, these are some contribution of Jula Creative Tourism and are dedicated to conserving Thailand's plant diversity to fulfilling a royal wish. More than 20,000 plant species that are found in Thailand have been studied, including 1,200 species of mushrooms, 300 of lichens, 600 plus of ferns, and more than 1,000 orchid species, and over 10,000 vascular plant species from has been conducted by the science faculties. Chula is actively engaging in major university networks such as APRU, Association of Pacific Rims University, AUA, ASEAN University Alliance, AUN, ASEAN University Network. And participation with the network offers Chula an important channel to involve efficiently in broader areas. And these networks also act as a platform for faculty members and students to expand their academic horizons. There are more and more action that we have done towards sustainable development goals. Please visit our website, www.sustainability.chula.ac.th, or reading our sustainability report 2018 to 2020. And this helping, encouraging works towards sustainability goals. In addition to that, we have more and more activities are done. You can watch it through our website. In terms of promoting SDG, partnering with our UN and UNDP and the UNOS Foundation, we have launched a social innovation competition entitled Engaging Our Futures Innovation Challenge for Sustainable Society last year. More than 118 teams from 400 student social innovators from 26 countries submitting their projects to this competition. A number of big ideas and brilliant ideas has been done throughout the world. So I would like to sum up our and Chulalongkorn University contributions towards sustainable futures and what are the critical success factors, why we come to this ranking. I would summarize this into 4 key areas. The first one is strategies. We first understanding the 17 SDG goal, the UN SDG goal and the THE impact ranking goals. Then we're looking at the THE impact ranking methodology carefully and the way the score are calculated, how we are performing, looking at our strength, looking at our weaknesses and how we can improving ourselves. Like the Elsevier just mentioned, data is the king. I totally agree with that. Without data, you don't know where to go. So I would highly recommend you understanding yourself by analyzing data and developing your own strategies towards sustainability. The second one, which is very important, impactful research and innovation by your faculty member and students have far-reaching consequences to a global scale. And they are widely cited by international academic communities and have socio and national application. And that are an important parts. And then the third part is the power of collaborations or synergies. SDG is not only a work or a task of a function or a unit, it is everybody's jobs. So like Professor Saida just mentioned, so how we can do that? Chulalongkorn University has been done this from the university council level. We concert efforts all level from the university councils, the presidents, the university executive boards, along with various departments will harness together information and analyze Chula extensive body of research and innovation that constitute truly outstanding work. And then the fourth one is storytelling. Compiling interesting facts about Chula research and innovation into compelling stories and communicating how the state research and innovation impact to society. So I would like to end my talk with a quote from our beloved late King Rama IX, His Majesty Bhumibol Adulyadej the Great. Once said, the prosperity and the happiness of the nations and the people are not the achievement of any single person. It is the cooperative efforts. And we are upholding the teaching and the wisdom of the Thai monarch. And we live up to his endearing and inspiring legacies. The best way to predict the futures is to creating it. Chulalongkorn University to welcome our friends and partners to co-create, collaborate, and co-share our ecosystem for our sustainable futures. Thank you. And for more information, please visit our website and our Facebook. And I wish you all very good health and all the very best. Thank you. Sawadee-ka.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nacha. Very inspiring presentations. I must agree with all of the chats here, the chattings, and they all praise what Chula has been done for not just Thailand, but for the society. I really like social transformers that you mentioned, because everybody in Chula, not just lecturers, but even students, and need to be transformed into social transformers that can, of course, provide greater impact to society. So thank you so much, Dr. Naja, for sharing.
Thank you, Johan, and all the colleagues and friends.
Thank you, thank you. Now we will go to the Q&A sessions. Yeah, I believe that the time is quite limited, but we're still able to ask to answer some questions from the participants. If we look at the number of questions that we have in the Q&A box, in total, we almost have 100 questions, which will be impossible for us to answer. But let me pick some of the questions, and we can ask our speakers for sure. Yeah, so I'll read the questions first, and then I'll ask one of the speakers to answer the questions. And I think we can start first with maybe between Anders and also Kana. So there is a questions here relating to keywords, keywords about SDGs. So maybe Anders and Kana can help to answer these questions. Are universities allowed to propose additional keywords relating to SDGs for searching article beside keywords provided by Elsevier? Maybe your thoughts on this?
We actually have on the SDG Resource Center a way to crowdsource that you can link publications to certain SDGs. And we will try to include this. But then actually we have over the years improved the keyword search. And most recently we have also included the machine learning algorithms so that we take a set of publications that we're very sure relates to a certain SDG. And then we have trained an algorithm to find additional publications on that. But of course, through this SDG Resource Center, maybe someone can put it in the chat, you can actually suggest publications belonging to an SDG. Kana-san, do you want to add?
Yes, you can suggest to Elsevier. Also, I think we keep improving the query, as Anders mentioned, and also we added some machine learning parts to the query. But for THE impact ranking, we only use keyword-based search publication set. But for if you look at data in cyber, that SDG were actually keyword-based publication set plus AI-based additional one. So there's actually small differences.
Okay, thank you, Anders and Kana. I think for the next questions, maybe Dr. Saida and also Dr. Nacha can help to answer this one. It's regarding pandemic that we are facing right now. So do you think that because of this pandemic, then the plan to achieve SDGs by 2030 will be affected? Yeah, maybe can start with, I don't know, Dr. Nasha maybe, and then after that, Dr. Saida.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you for the question. Very good question indeed. Yes, in my opinions, I think COVID-19 helps speed up everything that we do. Actually the goal that we set is we want to achieve top 3 in ASEAN by 2024. But because when COVID comes, everything has to move faster. For example, online course that I just mentioned. The president's plan to have 100% online courses by 2024. But then because of COVID, just 1 year, everything are online because of COVID. And that is true. So I would like to show you something that uncertainties come to us faster and unpredictable. So we have to respond really fast. And the platform that help us respond to the rapid change fast is one of the way that we do is innovation ecosystem. Whenever there is a demand, society needs, because of that PPP platforms, public-private partnership platform, it helps us speeding up the solution. And because each other do their parts and help one another to achieve a similar goals that we have set. And again, it's about our futures leader that we develop who make change matter and who can bring a bright futures. So again, it comes to human capitals. So the role of university is so crucial. That's why we need to develop our social transformer mindset to all the students that we are grooming and nurturing right now. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nacha. I immediately when I read these questions, I think negatively about COVID-19 and SDGs, but such an excellent point of view that, you know, with COVID, then things get moving even faster than, you know, the aim. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Nacha. Dr. Saida, what do you think about this COVID-19 and SDGs?
Thank you, Johan. I concur with what Dr. Nacha mentioned just now. Indeed, COVID-19 has accelerated a lot of actions and programs from the university. I also concur with Dr. Nacha because, you know, with regard to lifelong learning, now USM has speed up our lifelong learning. We have more micro-credential programs being offered, and now it's even easier to extend our programs to a larger audience through online learning. So, and this is also the time for us to reflect again, how can we do things innovatively? I think Dr. Nacha has mentioned lovely things that have been done in Chulalongkorn University. Some of the innovations that we have embarked to make sure that people around the globe will be able to still share our knowledge, share our experiences, and how do we actually launch all these programs? And in fact, if you look at USM's experience, we have more webinars now, we have more engagement now as compared to before. And we have never thought this would happen. You know, initially when we had lockdown, we were also very stressed out about what we need to do, how can we engage with the public. And it's just that through innovation and through the sustainable lifestyle that we have, we are able to extend that information to the public. And in fact, like recently, USM, we had launched our Sustainability Month in the month of March 2031, sorry. And we had students engagement creatively with regard to innovations. What can they participate with regard to sustainable innovation at home? And you cannot imagine the beautiful things that they have submitted to us, you know, with regard to the things that they can do at home. So this would have never thought would happen if we don't have COVID-19. So COVID-19 has somehow accelerated a lot of things to many of us. And of course, there are a lot of challenges as well to making sure that equity and equality among the community, especially those who are not within the areas where they can get good internet connections, those who are not well versed into online learning. These are all the challenges that we have, and we need to actually inculcate the behavior of Internet of Things, communication, technology to the public. So we have accelerated quite a lot with regard to sustainability under this pandemic. So I think it accelerated our sustainability efforts, and I hope that this rate will definitely continue and this momentum will keep on spiking, even though this pandemic will be over soon, I hope.
Thank you, Dr. Saida, for also very positive answer from your side. We will run a bit late, out of our time frame, but hopefully we can still answer maybe 2 more questions from the participants before we close, because there are still so many questions. But I would like to pick one ongoing theme in the Q&A box, which there are some questions regarding SDGs and also how it plays out in underdeveloped, developing, and developed countries, because there are some questions here regarding if I can try to sum up, do you think that SDGs, what universities have been doing so far, can only be developed by big universities, by developed countries? Meanwhile, underdeveloped and developing countries will be very hard to cope with SDGs effort. So anyone would like to start sharing? Maybe from Anders or from Kana or Dr. Nacha and Dr. Said, do you think that this SDG only applies for big universities and developed countries? Yeah, Anders, maybe?
Yeah, a very simple answer, no. All universities can look what they can do. It's basically, it starts from a community effort, a bottom-up effort.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
But it will be very interesting to hear from our universities, because you are the true experts.
If I may add to what Anders have mentioned, when you talk about sustainability practices, you don't need to be rich, you don't need to be big. to engage in sustainability practices, because everything starts from you. You are the person who are actually engaging with sustainability practices, and it should start from the small things that you have and the small things that you can do at home, like gardening, hydroponic, recycling, and all these can easily be extended to a smaller community, whether you are at home, at the university, or even at an international level. So it starts small. It's from that small effort that can become a big opportunities and a big impact to the global economy. So don't feel that, just because you are from a developing country, the resources are limited. But sustainability, of course, it needs funding, but the small practices and the small engagement requires commitment. And usually sustainability is basically engaged and accelerated by volunteerism. It is the fundamentals of sustainability. You need people to be involved voluntarily. They have to be passionate about sustainability, because if everything is about money, nothing will be executed. And I think the cases that Dr. Nacha has shown, the sustainability effort at the University of Chulalongkorn, and also in USM, lots of things that we have done are basically on a volunteerism basis. And it's not easy to do, but it is something that can get sustainability activities and sustainability agenda running.
Thank you.
I would like to add briefly on this question. This question is great question because it has been asked by a number of university to THE impact rankings about the university which has a lot of resources. Will there benefits over other university who has less resources? The answer is no, because the THE impact ranking focusing on equality, not equity. Equality looking at regardless of size of universities or regardless of the budgets that you have, all have equal opportunities to perform to SDG. And if you're looking at THE impact ranking methodology carefully, you find out that the way they calculate the ranking is not using all the 17 SDG and then divide up by 17. No, there has a way to calculate it to make sure that equality is there. So yeah, something to add on. Totally agree with others.
Thank you, Anders. Dr. Raja and also Dr. Saida. Yes, so it's not just the playground for the big universities or playground for developed countries. Everybody can participate, yeah, and yeah, start small with a commitment, and yeah, everybody can of course contribute to SDGs. Thank you so much for that.
Keyword is on collaborations.
And
highlight
yes,
on that.
of course, yeah, there's so many collaborations opportunities out there with other universities, and this webinar is also one of them. I've seen in chat there's so many people also asking for collaborations with universities in Southeast Asia, and I think this is such a great opportunities for everyone. Thank you. So moving on, and sadly this is our last questions because we ran out of time. But if you can share, yeah, your thoughts, if university want to your advice, yeah, for any academic institutions, yeah, if they want to start their own journey, yeah, in SDGs, yeah, what would be your advice for universities? If they want to start or they want to develop, maybe some already start but it's still small now, what would be your advice for these universities? Maybe we can start with Dr. Saida.
Thank you, Johan. I would say we go back to the basics of education for sustainable development, because education for sustainable development embeds sustainability in the 3 dimensions: research, teaching, as well as community. So you don't have to start with 100 courses. Start with 2 courses or 3 courses, or just 1 for that matter. So when USM started, we only had 1 sustainability wide courses for everyone at the university. And then this concept was extended further, that all courses need to have some SDG elements. So it's a process that you have to follow. Similarly with research, because usually when we do research, it's for the sake of publications, usually, right? To make sure that our papers are published in Scopus, Elsevier, ISI, and all that. But it's through research that you can have lots of impact. And all these research are beneficial, not only to the university, but also for innovation for the community. So, it can be a small innovation impact from the research, that would lead to a bigger engagement with industry. And I think this is what SDG 9 is all about: innovation, engagement with the industry, patent, making sure that what you do at the research level, at the university level, can be shared with the community. And of course, the third one is community. Don't talk about, don't start targeting an international level. I would say start with your own community. And this is what our Vice Chancellor has always mentioned to all of us. If you cannot basically gauge the university community on sustainability, don't talk about extending it to the outside university. So let's start first with our own community. Start with awareness program, understanding of sustainability. People may know, oh yeah, there are 17 SDG goals, everybody knows about that. But what are the content? What are the matrices? What are the targets of each SDGs? What actually correspond? These are the questions that people keep on asking me. I know there are 17 SDGs, but what are they? So that's what we, since 2020, we have started on embarking on inculcating awareness, making sure that people understand what sustainability is and what SDGs are. So I think that should be the key component for any, not only for universities, for any organizations who want to embed and want to practice and innovate with regard to sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saida. Wonderful answer and advice for everyone. How about you from Dr. Naja?
Well, if you remember my summary slides, there are 4 parts for critical success factors. The first one is on setting visions, policy, goals, and strategies towards SDG goal. That part involving a true understanding of SDG goal, as well as THE impact ranking methodology, if you want to be reflected by this ranking. But otherwise, you first have to understand the 17 SDG goal, what it is, and what does it mean? How are we measuring success? And what do you want to contribute? And that has to be set as your strategies. What you want to move first, second, and third. We don't have unlimited resources. That's why we have to prioritize. So the first one is on setting the strategies. The second one is on developing an impactful research and innovation works, as well as embedding that into your education or your futures leader that you developed. And then the third one is utilizing the power of collaborations. Don't do it alone. You cannot do everything by yourself, by one single researcher. It is impossible. You need partnership, you need collaborations. And lastly, communicate what you did to the world. Giving that as the best storytelling that you want to tell the world that I'm so proud of this work. I contribute so much to your local communities and global communities. Tell the world what you have done. So these are the 3 steps that I would like to give an advice for the one who want to come and join in change making and make a better world towards sustainability.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naja, for the advice. And again, thank you so much for all our speakers. Yeah, we are sorry we cannot, we still have actually 43 questions, but it will run until midnight if we try to answer everyone's questions. But thank you so much, Anders. Thank you so much, Kana. Thank you, Dr. Saida. Thank you, Dr. Naja. I learned so much from this session myself, and I believe all the participants also learned so much from your sharing, from your insights, from your journey, from experiences. There's so many messages in chat thanking all of you. Yeah, it's very inspiring, and I do hope that after this session, it's not just inspiring and that's it, but there's so many more actions done by academic communities in Southeast Asia to achieve such great achievement. It could be THE, it could be other rankings, but the most important is that we bring positive impacts to our community. So again, on behalf of Elsevier, thank you so much for sharing. And of course, we'll see you again in our next event. We'll see more and more of these types of webinars, yeah? And this is something that we really appreciate our partners from Southeast Asia support us in contributing to academic community. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nasha.
All the very best.
Thank you,
Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Anders.
you very
Sawat
much.
di ka.
Dr. Nacha, thank you so much.
Thank you. And for all our participants, before we end this session, I would like just to give you an announcement. First, for our post-event survey, and the second one is for e-certificate. Yeah. So for that, let me just share my screen. Okay. First, we start with our post-event survey. So we really appreciate if you could go to this link, and I believe my colleague will also share this link in the chat box as well. Yeah, this is for our post-event survey. You can go to this link, or you can just scan the QR code. We really appreciate your input, yeah, your feedback, and also your ideas for the next webinar that we can conduct again in the near future. Yeah, so please do let us know. We will also send this information to your registered email account after this session. Yeah, so please do let us know your thoughts, yeah, your ideas for our next webinars. Okay, so this is for the post-event survey. If you cannot do it right now, it's fine. Yeah, we will share the information with you after this session again. Yeah. Okay, next is for the e-certificate. So for e-certificate, you can download the certificate yourself. Yeah, so let me share how you can download your certificate. Yeah, so to claim your certificate, you can go to this link. Yeah, so it's a different link, or you can just scan the QR code. Yeah, so go to this link or scan the QR code, and then you will be asked to answer 5 or 6 questions, just a multiple choice questions, very simple, 5 or 6 questions. And after that, you will be directed to this page. Yeah, and in this page, please do put the workshop code, and this is the workshop code. Yeah, RTEFSF. Yeah, so after you put the workshop code, then you will be able to download the certificate. Yeah, but if you see that this screen pop up, it means that you need to register or sign in for Elsevier ID first. Yeah, it's a very simple process, yeah, to register or sign in. And after you register or sign in, then you will be able to download the certificate. Yeah. The reason why we need you to register or sign in is to make sure that you have your first and last name in your certificate. Yeah. So this platform will know your first and last name based on your registration. Yeah. So again, it's very simple process. Yeah. Go to this link, answer 5 or 6 multiple choice questions, put in the workshop code, and that's it. You will be able to download the e-certificate. Yeah. If you experience difficulty, if there are some, let's say there's an error, yeah, please do wait. Yeah, because we have so many participants joining us this afternoon. So there could be a little bit of technical glitch. Yeah, maybe, hopefully not. But if that happens, then you can try again. Maybe after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, yeah, after this session ends. Yeah, and usually it will work fine. Okay, so again, thank you so much for our speakers. Thank you so much for all the participants from every corners of Southeast Asia, and also even from outside Southeast Asia. Yeah, we learned so much from this session. Yeah, and we are so inspired and ready to do a lot of positive actions, you know, for our communities. Yeah, with SDGs, yeah, as the foundation. Yeah, this is not the last event from Elsevier Southeast Asia. We will still do so many events in the future. So we will contact you. You know, we will, we hope that you can join more sessions in the future. So again, thank you so much. Yeah, and to all the speakers. Yeah, thank you so much for the participants. Okay, and see you again next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Nasha.
Johan.
Thank you so much, Johan. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Anders.
Excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Anders. Thank you, Kana.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณนะคะ
Thank you so much everyone
so
take
much.
care